I kind of fixed my off-grid cabin. It's now possible to live here. It wasn't really possible before, but now I think it is.
You crazy cat.
No, don't destroy my...
No. No, kitty. No, kitty.
We got snowed in. It's so silent. I've been shoveling snow all day with the only thing that I've got, and that is this paddle. This worked pretty well. That's my car, and this is the driveway. A feet of snow. Someone has driven here, but I can't. I don't know what the limit of driving in snow is for my old small car, but this is too much. I'm not working today, but tomorrow we will see. If I just had winter tires for my real car.
Oj, Matijs.
The first thing required to fix this place was... Oh shit. The first thing I needed to fix this place was patience. I needed to fire up the fireplace for a very long time. It doesn't take one day, it takes at least 3 days when it's really cold. If you have a fire going all the time for a week or so, it gets pretty nice in here and it stays pretty nice. It's not going down too much. Before I could do that, the weather needed to be a bit milder. It has been staying at let's see, when the temperatures outside is minus 10, 15 degrees Celsius, 10 to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Outdoors, it's the same temperature inside here when you come and you have to start the fire, and it takes so freaking long to heat up the whole fireplace. It's so massive. So that's the big thing. And then also my doors didn't really close. Wood expands and retracts when it's moist and warm and cool and stuff like that. So my doors to this room couldn't really close. So I previously had like blankets and stuff over the doors, but when I heated up the place for several days it was possible to close the doors completely, and that makes all the difference in the world. So that's great. You can see, even though it's pretty clutch, it still leaks some air and it's not very nice. But now, when the house has been heated up, the wood has been contracted a bit or retracted or whatever it's called. So now it can close. That's very good to keep the heat in. And I made some cat doors for Atris, so he can use the doors however he likes, and he can also hunt mice in the kitchen, which is good. Then I was going to give up on the diesel heater and move it indoors and try to fix it. But then I found out that a small screw on the back side wasn't really clutch. So I had to just tighten the screw and then it worked. And the diesel heater has been working great. I have a really old car battery that has been working fine, and it could probably run the diesel heater when it's fully charged for at least one day. Then I have a better marine battery from my boat that has been running the diesel heater for at least 48 hours or something. I don't know how long it will run. It's pretty good. When I'm working for a long time, I can heat the place up meanwhile and leave my cat here, and that's really nice. I couldn't really do it without that, I think. Those things are the main fixes. This is an old fix I did. It's a plastic glass because the Croft did just have one glass pane. So I put plastic glass, like plexiglass, inside. I just taped the plexiglass to the window so it's pretty much airtight, and in between I put this love. I don't know what it's called in English. Maybe it's also called moss, but in Swedish we have two different words. The reindeers eat this and it's called reindeer love. This window is just bolted together because it's not big enough. But the other ones I taped. This one is just taped together. At the moment I ran out of fuel, but I can just fill it up, and I am starting to learn the error codes. This is the fuel code. And this is the setup indoors. I have a battery that I plug in, and that's the outlet. And when I am not using the diesel heater, I put a pillow there so the cool air doesn't come in. I have this heat fan that is driven by the heat of the stove, but I don't really think that these heat driven fans are doing anything at all, really. They're just spinning and making some noise sometimes. So I also built I also put in a computer fan to blow cool air up in the chimney here, so the hot air can circulate and come down and fill up the room. The computer fan works much better than the heat-driven fan. I can now live in my off-grid cabin. One of the problems heating your place with mainly firewood is firewood. So these are some branches that have been falling down the trees in storms, so I just collect them, and maybe next winter they can be dry enough to burn in the fireplace. This is a couple of hours of work, but maybe a week's worth or 2 weeks worth of firewood. So the only dry firewood I have is these big logs they are very hard to burn, so you have to chop them up or saw them up. So I actually bought some firewood, and I have also been borrowing or getting firewood from my parents, so I am fortunate that way. But next winter, if I fail with my sailing expedition, I need to buy some big firewood I have to buy a lot of firewood. I also collected a lot of small branches, dry branches last winter and spring, so these are good for burning big logs. If you put small branches next to big logs, they burn better. It's almost impossible to chop this. It's so compact, so hard. There we go. Yes. Oh yes. These are another upgrade. I soldered on some MC4 connectors to an XT60 connector for these two solar panels and just screwed them on the wall. And these are now charging my diesel heater battery. So I have three different solar panel systems. One is for my LiFePro battery, which is powering like cameras, drones, computer, and the oldest two are for the battery for the lights in the cabin, and these two are for charging my diesel heater battery. I also put this big bucket here so I can get some rainwater collected, so I don't need to go to the well, which is 300 meters away maybe, to get some cleaning water. That's pretty nice. I made this diesel heater exhaust pipe very long just to get fresh air from the outside heated and then blown into the cabin, because I wanted to have more fresh air rather than just heating the air that is inside the cabin. I think it's less efficient this way, but I get probably a bit better air quality inside the cabin, unless the exhaust leaks into the air and is blown into the cabin. But it seems to be working pretty good. This is the diesel heater housing I made, which is okay. I should paint it maybe. As you can see, I haven't really insulated my house other sides, just the south side, which is probably the warmest side, so I should probably do that because it doesn't look great with these but actually the logs are probably the best insulated parts of this house anyways. The logs are pretty well, they are like this big and they are probably keeping the warmth in. The windows, however, are not very well insulated. I completely remade the floor when I renovated my house, so the floor is pretty well insulated, I think. But this screw on the diesel heater wasn't really tight enough, that's why it didn't work. And now I should fill it up maybe. I don't really like the smell of diesel on my hands, but at least it's better now when the water is not frozen and you can actually clean up. So there you can see the hot air goes into the house here. I could probably insulate this part as well to make it even more efficient, but it's not really necessary, I think. It's very, very efficient. I just used some aluminum foil to make the exhaust pipe tight. If I was to compare the prices of diesel for heating and buying wood for heating, I think at the moment diesel is even cheaper to heat the place than wood, because wood prices are insane in Sweden. Collecting wood, making my own wood is needed to make this a cheaper lifestyle or way to live than an apartment or something like that. It's still much cheaper, even if I was to buy wood, it's still cheaper than living with rent and stuff. Here I have two of the battery systems. This is the old system, that's for the lights. It goes to this battery. It's the two first or middle solar panels, and this is the new solar panel system for charging a car battery for the DC-liter. So I had bought this MPPT charger for my new electric boat project, but it wasn't Bluetooth, so I didn't want it for that, so it's here now. When this battery is charged, I can switch it out for the other one in the where the DC-liter is. If you have been born in like the last 50 years or something, you have been taught that the water is coming from the tap and the heat is coming from some radiators on the wall or something, but that's the biggest thing you have to relearn when going off the grid. You have to generate your own electricity, you have to chop your own wood, you have to keep the fire burning all the time, you have to go get the water, you have to, and the pipes are freezing and the water is freezing, so you have to unfreeze the water or get some snow, put it on the fire and get water that way, and you have to do all those things. Is it worth it? Because of the very cold winter, my trains have been broken and we haven't had much to do at my job. I drive trains, so I had a lot of time and I could get some time off if I liked, so I got some extra time off to just heat this place and be here, and then I think it is worth it if you have the time. If you don't work a full-time job all the time, it's worth it. And now that I have gotten used to it, I think it's worth it. It's not as cold any longer, and I hope it don't get to minus 20 degrees Celsius or below, like 0 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not very nice to live off the grid then, so I think Atris misses his neighborhood cats he used to fight with at my parents' place. So he has been walking like 5 kilometers just to go fight with some neighborhood cats. It's like 2 kilometers to the closest neighbors here, so it's quite far, like 1.5 miles if you are into miles and that. Freezing and doing all these chores is the price of freedom, and I believe that freedom is worth the work. I can play loud music in the middle of the night and nobody cares but Atris. I think he also enjoys this place more and more. It's a bit less snow now and he can walk around more and hunt for mice and other animals. Hi, my name is Mozart and I'm from outer space. I am an intergalactic filmmaker stranded on the last Earth. I document my sailing expeditions, off-grid amusement park, random adventures and projects, and the search for my happy-go-lucky land. And sometimes I invite you to join.